Hello, my name is Matthew, and this morning I saw that Sean the Book Maniac did the 112 page tag, which I've seen quite often, and Sean has done it a handful of times. And it's a really interesting tag. It's an interesting premise or practice, and the idea is that you take a book and you open it up to page 112. I don't know exactly why that specific page is the random sampling, but you open it up and you read the page, and it's supposed to give you a sense of the book just somewhere in the middle. And it's a great idea if you're at a bookshop and there's a book that you're interested in, or an author that you've heard really good things about, or a book that um, is on a subject that you might um, enjoy or like. And instead of reading the first page, which what this tag or idea is supposed to do, the first page, the beginning of the book is probably really well worked over. It's the author trying to be as exciting and as dynamic, and really put the best foot forward for the reader. The first page should really grab you. But there's the concern that the writer's capabilities, the writer's talents, might not be able to carry uh, an idea all the way through the book. The author, he or she, might start getting a little bit tired, or lazy, or um, just might not be talented enough to have a really great idea and follow it through with um, great writing and a good story full of interesting characters, um, all the way to completion. And so the idea is that you open up to page 112, and maybe you can catch the author off guard, and you'll either find um, that it holds up really well and it's beautifully written, or it's kind of on shaky ground, not quite as good as the first page or chapter. And I've seen this tag, and it's really fun, very enjoyable to watch. And for whatever reason, I was thinking about Celine, and Celine's written a handful of books. There's only two novels. I've read everything in English that I've ever been able to get my hands on. There's two novels that um, are his clear, great works. One is Journey to the End of the Night, his first novel, and then his companion piece, sort of a sequel, Death on the Installment Plan. And Celine is one of those authors. He's one of my favorite French writers, but he's one of those authors that I will never recommend to anybody. Uh, and there's a handful of these kinds of writers. The Marquis de Sade comes to mind. Just with Celine, he's such a negative, pessimistic, violent. The writing has this violent energy. It's a rant. This is an angry person expressing their anger, and all of his novels are what we would kind of think of today as those autobiographies that have been novelized. So it's a memoir um, in the form of a novel, and we follow this character, and it's a voice. We're hearing a voice through the pages of Celine, Death on the Installment Plan, or Journey to the End of the Night, a handful of other novels. And this is a person that is as angry, negative, pessimistic, nihilistic, and bursting on every page. And his novels aren't short. So this is a man completely off the rails for hundreds of pages, and you've never encountered anything like it. Not in print, not in person, not on television, not a celebrity having a tantrum on set, or a politician having one of their big rants on the screen. There's no comedian on stage that has a rant that could come anywhere close to the level of intensity that you will find in Celine, that has a sustained pitch for hundreds of pages. You'll have someone, a powder keg, just hysterical, and it is so extreme to the point that one of the ways that I find enjoyment in his novels is that it can be funny, and so hysterical in the sense of humor, but also hysteria. This is as close as you can have to reading the vocalized emotions of a psychotic breakdown. The closest thing that maybe you could get a little bit of sense of the kind of theatrical screaming, yelling rage that you'll find in this book. There's little clips of Gordon Ramsay when he is dressing somebody down, yelling and screaming. There's a really good, one of my favorite Gordon Ramsay stories. So Gordon Ramsay is known for yelling and screaming in the kitchen, and he has many examples that have gone viral in different TV shows and YouTube videos. He's this person that's like fearless and will say what's on his mind to anybody. And there's another person, Marco Pierre White, who's another chef. Gordon Ramsay worked under Marco Pierre White when he was young and getting started. And Marco Pierre White was a lion in the kitchen. You can see videos of him as well, not with the same gesturing and yelling the way that you see in Gordon Ramsay, but pure intensity and intimidation. And one of the many notable things about Marco Pierre White is he's known to be the only person to make Gordon Ramsay cry. And it was when Gordon Ramsay was young. He's working in Marco Pierre White's kitchen, and Gordon Ramsay does something wrong, and has the full experience of someone being very angry at him and being very good at being angry, expressing that anger. And Gordon Ramsay apparently cries. And there's an interview, you can find it online, of an interviewer asking Marco Pierre White, "Did you make Gordon Ramsay cry?" And unblinking, this is an older Pierre White, and he goes, "I didn't make Gordon Ramsay cry. Gordon Ramsay made himself cry. He chose to cry." And there is this feeling that you get off of the screen that this is a man not to be reckoned with, certainly not in the kitchen. It'll make your knees buckle. Maybe the point of that kind of story is there's always someone scarier In any event, I was thinking about Celine this morning and while I was at work today, and Death on the Journey to the End of the Night is most likely, very clearly, Celine's masterpiece, his best novel. My favorite novel by Celine is Death on the Installment Plan. I think it has more black humor, so it's more emotionally dynamic. It's still that high pitched, sustained yelling. It's a novel as a tirade, and it might not be a good novel. It's not going to have all of the things that are expectations when you pick up a novel, as far as um, having some sort of um, storyline, a plot where you're going to have an arc, and maybe there's adventures or building up to something, or interesting dynamic characters, or great descriptions of locations, whatever you might find in a novel. This is a voice. And as a memoir set in a novel, the novelized memoir is now quite popular. There's sort of this idea that maybe you're going to put yourself in a better light. You want to show your good side. And Celine wants nothing of that. When he's angry, and he's pretty much only angry, he wants to express his anger. And so I got home and I was curious. I took my favorite Celine novel, Death on the Installment Plan, took it off the shelf and opened up to page 112. And I'll, I'll just read it. I'll just read it. Okay, page 112. What scum, what a family, what a crummy lot they all are. Never a minute's peace. They even come and hound me on the job. My brothers act like a bunch of jailbirds. My sister sells her ass in Russia. My son has every known vice. It's a fine how do you do, Christ almighty. I just started laughing. It's like that. On every passage, every page is a man full whack tirade. And just for kicks, I just opened up to another random page, and this is 314. I just bookmarked it. It doesn't even really matter what page you select, but 314. Suffering asshole, Christ almighty. My poor dear, what did we do to produce such vermin, as corrupt as 36 jailbirds? Profligate, scoundrel, idler, and then some. He's calamity personified, good for nothing, except to rob us and clean us out. A pestilence, gouge us without mercy, that's all his gratitude. For a whole life of sacrifice, 2 lives of torment, we're nothing but a couple of old fools. We're the ones that get it in the neck every time. Go on, say it again. Say it, you poisonous toad. Come on, out with it. Admit you want to be the death of us, that you want us to die of grief and misery. Let me hear you say it at least before you finish me off. Go off, you stinking scum. And it's like that for hundreds of pages. Those 2 passages that I read might not be the best examples, or the angriest, or most violent, or most negative, or anything like that. I'm sure I could spend time and find certain passages that are just out of this world insane, with a person completely losing their mind. But this is the idea. These are just random samplings of a book of a guy going nuts. Let me see if I could just. There is a. Uh, well, anyway, very enjoyable. Again, Celine is not an author that I recommend. It's not any of his books. I don't think you should pick them up. If you're already interested in Celine, it's very clear. Death, Journey into the End of the Night is the place to start. If you like it, Death on the Installment Plan. After that, there's no reason to be a Celine completist. I've read 6 or 10 of his novels. Everything that you need to get to have a good sense of this guy is going to be in those 2 books. The rest of them will just be more not quite as well done. So I hope that was enjoyable. If you've ever been kind of interested in Celine, I've struggled to talk about this author in particular, especially when there's favorite author lists or favorite book lists. I kind of omit him because he is a bit of a curiosity. It's a certain itch. It's a certain kind of scratch that, for what it is, you will find nothing like it. There's no comparable kind of writer that will come anywhere close to what he could do on every single page. So this is kind of fun. So those are some of my thoughts on Celine, and kind of an attempt to do the 112 page tag. And I'll say thank you, Sean, and thank you for watching. Leave a comment if you would like, and take care.